Welcome back to Talking Winter Ops. It's that time of year again when we sit down with other organizations working in winter maintenance to catch up on what they've been doing this past year. I'm Rick Nelson, and I'll be your host for the 2026 National Winter Maintenance and Road Weather Briefing Series. These briefings give us an opportunity to catch up with our partners in winter maintenance and road weather, learn about what they've been working on over the past year, and hear about their plans for the future. More importantly, they give you a chance to see how these ideas, tools, and initiatives might fit into your own operation. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize the organizations that make these briefings possible. First, a big thank you to the AASHTO Winter Weather Management Technical Service Program, the sponsor of Talkin' Winter Ops, its parent committee, the AASHTO Committee on Maintenance, and its close partners in the Maintenance Operations Technical Working Group. And of course, thanks to the state DOTs whose annual contributions to the Winter Weather Management Technical Service Program make it all possible. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's catch up with our partners across the country to hear about what's new and what's coming up next. This segment, we're going to focus on the American Public Works Association, and Matt Morium's a Public Works Director at Shorewood, Minnesota, and liaison to the AASHTO's Winter Weather Management TSP for a long time. Matt, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So, Matt, what's exciting happening over at APWA these days?
Well, in the winter maintenance realm, we just got done with our North American Snow Conference in Cleveland, Ohio, which was super exciting this year. Cleveland was scheduled to be the snow conference in 2020. And we had a little thing called COVID, so this was a rescheduled. Took many years to get the stars to align, but it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of great training. We hosted our winter maintenance supervisor and operator certificate programs there. Big crowds for those, and it was great. We had a lot of great events that we could talk with other winter maintenance professionals, and it was a lot of fun, and that's probably the biggest thing. And we're kind of kicking off our training season here actually today, yesterday and today, and then tomorrow we have our virtual winter maintenance supervisor certificate program that's been going on. And we'll have our operator one this fall, so it's kind of the kickoff to our training season, if you will. We have a number of them in August, and then September and October once we get into our winter season. So we're starting to get busy.
Yeah. So now the training program. I know we did a Talkin' Winter Ops episode about the operator and supervisor certificate program. If somebody's interested in getting one of those classes close to them, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we do have information on APWA's website. We're kind of revamping our program. I would say refreshing it. We started that program in 2011, and so we're kind of we refresh it on an annual basis and kind of update the content, but we're doing a little bit more of an overhaul, which actually you're a part of that, so thank you there. And as part of this, we're kind of looking at ways and working with some of our kind of newer partners that we have with our committee to update some of the information online. You can get to things online. You can there's links for it. There's a drop page for it, and you would go through APWA staff, which then that kind of funnels down to our committee, and then we basically take it from there to see if we can do that training. So I think we have 14 different locations this year, and that includes virtual, so those aren't really locations, so about 12 locations across the United States and Canada. But I would plan ahead, so if you want to do one this year, that's not going to happen. But if you want to do one in 2027, it's good to plan now if you have any interest in that, because it takes some time to do the scheduling, get the dates, and then obviously get speakers. So we tend to have, depending on the different programs that we do, we tend to send 3 to 5 speakers, and if we can partner with some more local speakers that are familiar with the program, we will do that. And then they travel out there, they give the training in person, and then then you can take that, be certified in those different, the supervisor or operator program.
Yeah, sweet. Now, how big a class are you looking to put together each go round?
So it really depends. I mean, it depends on from chapter to chapter. We've had some that I've been a part of some, so we've traveled up to British Columbia every year, and we tend to have a couple classes there. So one might be 50 to 70 for the operator or supervisor, and then a different location might have 15 or 20. I would say kind of a sweet spot is maybe 50-ish to 100, but we do them at the snow conference with around 200. So we certainly love the interaction with that certificate program. So at times, if it gets a little too big, you maybe don't have as much interaction, but I still think there's a lot of value there. You still get a lot of different perspectives, and there is interaction. But with any large group, there can be a little bit of downfall from that. But I would say if you have 30, 40, that's a pretty good number. But we routinely have 50 to 70, even upwards of 100 at some of these locations.
Yeah, okay. So the best thing to do would be go to the website, maybe reach out to your local APWA chapter,
Yep.
coordinate through those folks, and get on the books.
Yes, you can reach out to me too. If for whatever reason you're not getting a response, reach out to me.
All right. Hey, Matt, what were some big takeaways from the snow conference in Cleveland this year? I wasn't able to make it, but you mentioned that it was a good event. Tell us a little bit about the snow conference this year.
Yeah, great question. I think one of the bigger things is just resources, and kind of the big coin term is AI. I would say AI probably took the cake as far as kind of the big theme, whether it was kind of how people interact with AI in their daily lives. Potentially, we did have a speaker or two just, they spoke not through AI, obviously, but some of them created some of their I thought it was interesting, kind of the different ways that people were utilizing AI, and I think that's going to be kind of a little bit of the theme going forward here. I think operations tend to be a little bit behind on technology and kind of what we do and how it may benefit them. Certainly coming up here, we're doing a Click, Listen, Learn in October, and AI is the topic, but it's AI as it relates to winter maintenance and how you can utilize it to your benefit. And so we'll have a few speakers that kind of go through some real world examples. So kind of expands on some of the things that we were hearing at the equipment show. I think some of the other things is with the tariffs that we were hearing from the show. A lot of our equipment, materials come not from the United States. Probably the most notable one is carbide. The price of carbide has quadrupled or even more, just the little tiny insert that goes in some of the cutting edges. And looking at what those impacts do for any size organization, whether you're small, medium, large size, those impacts are going to be real and are probably not going away. At least the carbide one, we're not seeing any end in sight on that one. Other costs and dealing with the costs, certainly since the snow conference, we've had the oil prices going up and seeing that, but a lot of those costs are pinching operations, and people are having to work more efficiently. Part of the reason why they attend these snow conferences is to kind of find ways to be more efficient, be more effective, and work within your budgets that may not be shrinking, but they in essence are shrinking because things are becoming more expensive.
Yeah, things don't stretch quite as far.
No.
Hey, so the Click, Listen, and Learn you mentioned, That's a really cool resource that APWA provides. What's the story on the Click, Listen, and Learns?
Yeah, so Click Listen Learns, they're every month. There's a different topic each month. So with APWA, there's anything from traffic transit to waste management to winter maintenance. Each month kind of has their own theme. We typically do October because it's just right before winter and do a topic related to winter maintenance. And so it's usually about a 90-minute online session. And we usually have 2 to 4 speakers that present for, 45, 50 minutes to an hour. And then a bigger question and answer type virtual question and answer ability to do that. And so it's great. Each month there's something that you're like, oh, okay, well, that's a good topic. These Click, Listen, Learns are meant to be kind of timely. So when we do have bigger topics like AI or some of these other type of things, they're not something that we would have talked about a couple of years ago. And we're just finally getting around to it. So they tend to be timely topics that people can utilize in their kind of everyday lives.
Right. And they focus on practitioners that are there, right? Practitioners in the field?
And there's a little bit of everything. So there could be some design elements just depending on the month and the topics and who's putting together the Click, Listen, Learns. If you go to APWA's website, they kind of lay out the schedule for everything, and they're months in advance on kind of topics. And you can, I believe it's a member resource. So if you're an APWA member, then you can go and add those to your calendar and register for those. And then, once they come along, then attend and learn from those professionals that are putting those on.
I think probably a lot of our listeners are from the DOT community. And I don't know, I just sort of get a sense that the state agencies might be underrepresented in APWA. Do you? Is that just a fallacy on my part, or do you think that's something that's fair to say?
I think overall it's probably fair to say. However, depending on what different discipline you're kind of dealing with and what area, I think different DOTs are more active. I would say MnDOT, Minnesota DOT. We were just in Cleveland, and Ohio DOT was pretty active, and what was going on, at least with the snow conference, and I'm assuming that's not a one-off with the conference. Alaska DOT, Dan Chalker, he's very active, and there's support there. But yeah, I've kind of heard it too. Obviously, being APWA's liaison to AASHTO with the technical service program, I've heard people say, "Well, that's a local thing." I would not really say that. My line is always we have way more similarities than we do differences, and we could all learn from each other. I really try to reach out to, and actually on our AI Click, Listen, Learn, we did reach out to DOT. So I think we have one of the speakers is from a DOT, state DOT. And there's things that we can learn from each other. I think where locals, have an advantage over the larger DOTs is we're more nimble. So some of the technologies and things that have been developed that DOTs really benefit from, they've been developed through a lot of the local agencies that, vendors, companies go to say, hey, let's try this out. That's not as easy to do with DOTs, and now there's great research and things that DOTs do that benefit everybody, including the DOTs. But I would say being a member of APWA for a DOT would be a huge plus for them, because there's just a lot of resources that come along with the organization.
Yeah, and I would agree with you there, Matt. And with respect to the local chapters, each local chapter sort of takes on its own flavor and the things that are important to it. And some may be much more technically in line or oriented than others. You just sort of have to feel it out. But I think at the national level, there are tremendous resources available that do benefit a state agency.
Yep, agreed. And we try to be. We're on many our APWA, at least for winter maintenance. We're on many of the kind of whether it's clear roads, involved a little bit, maybe a little less so with Aurora, but a lot of times clear roads and Aurora are kind of tied a little bit together. With AASHTO, TRB, Dan Schocker's involved with TRB. So some of those organizations and groups that are a little bit more DOT centric, we are involved with, and hopefully, I would assume those organizations feel that we're providing important input along with the AASHTO TSP.
I want to just sort of double back to the conferences again, because you're gearing up for the Western Snow and Ice Conference that happens every year in Colorado. That's a pretty significant event that takes place.
Yeah, so end of September is the Western Snow and Ice out in Loveland, Colorado. So that is a huge event that APWA is involved with. We do the certificate programs at that conference as well, and we have a lot of our subcommittee members, our winter maintenance subcommittee members, our speakers out there, and there's a lot of great content and a good show floor for there too, to show all the equipment. And it's kind of another great event, in a different time frame than the North American Snow Conference, which is typically in April or early May. So this one's usually always the end of September, and so it gives organizations another opportunity to learn from their peers and take a look at equipment. And it's a really great event if you haven't been to it.
And I would say it's a very reasonably priced event. When you look at meetings and conferences and things out there, it takes a significant financial commitment to attend those. I think from a value point of view, the Western probably has the most value offering that there is. When you look at the size of the equipment display that's there, the program, and the rodeo, the equipment rodeo. If people haven't had an opportunity to go to that event, you should really try to put it on your calendar.
Agreed.
Matt, anything else that we want to talk about with respect to APWA and your winter maintenance committee that you have there?
Yeah, the only other thing I would mention, and this is, kind of on the training side of things, and I don't know how much DOTs have really kind of heard about this organization, but APWA now has a training partnership with a company called BuildWit. They're getting to be more well-known. They're mostly in the construction area, but they're looking to expand more into municipal type things, and they provide training videos, training modules that are short and digestible, which are good for operational folks. And so APWA now has a training partnership, and that really was born out of we have an operation and maintenance subcommittee, which a number of our members of our winter maintenance subcommittee were a part of. And that partnership has kind of grown over the last couple of years, and now we do have an official partnership with them. Not selling people on it, but it's another option, a good option to provide some good training opportunities for their employees in a again, a short, digestible way. And there's anything from professional development of more supervisory things down to laying pipe, if you're dealing with utilities and things like that. So we're checking out, at least if there's at all any interest, again, looking for ways to be more efficient and cost effective. I know that the pricing for this is, pretty decent, especially if you're a medium-sized organization. Some of the DOTs are larger, so it's a fairly small investment, but that is out there. Check that out, and I would say that's about it. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and again, we're going into the season of training coming up here in a little over a month, kind of getting all of our travel plans getting ready. So we're excited to get out in the different areas and talk with folks and interact with them and learn from them. We learn from them as well, and all of our different trainings that we do throughout United States and Canada.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Matt, for joining us for this year's briefing. We really appreciate the update from APWA, and we look forward to working with you and participating in those APWA activities throughout 26 and 27.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks for listening in on this year's National Briefing. You can catch them all and other Talkin' Winter Ops episodes on our website, talkinwinterops.com, at the AASHTO Winter Weather Management website at transportation.org/winter-weather-management, or wherever you get your podcast content. Video versions of this briefing are available on our Talkin' Winter Ops YouTube channel. Now, if something in this briefing sparked your interest, you can email me or our guests to keep the conversation going. Until next time, thanks for tuning in and stay safe out there.